Hi everyone, let's continue Pareto optimality. Here is marginal conditions of Pareto optimality that's important. And what are these assumptions that we will discuss here? Pareto optimality assumptions number one, each individual has his own ordinal utility function and possesses a definite amount of each product and factor. That means you have your ranking among the products, which one you like it most, which one you do not like this particular product. Then the production function of every firm and the state of the technology is given and remain constant. We are assuming production function of every firm and the technology state of technology that would be constant and through the process. Goods are perfectly indivisible. A producer tries to produce a given output with least cost combination of factors. We are producing at the least cost combination of the factors, and every individual wants to maximize his satisfaction. This is the assumption. And every individual purchase some quantity of all goods. We are assuming that every individual will purchase some quantity of all goods and all factors of productions are perfectly mobile. Those are the factors of production. They are perfectly mobile. That means we are assuming this is the perfect market condition. Next, we come to this is based on how we can correlate this indifference curve analysis. I have already discussed indifference curve analysis in my previous videos. And indifference curve analysis, it is an optimum position, is one in which it is not possible to put any person on a higher indifference curve without causing someone to drop to a lower one. Because here is one person can improve or he can gain more until or unless other person is losing. And by defining a welfare position in terms of ordinal utility, Pareto rejected the notion of cardinal measurement of utility, and by doing so, he dispensed with the need for interpersonal comparison of utility. Let us explain Pareto criteria with the help of Samuelson utility possibility curve. So, we will discuss with the help of this curve. Let me explain you. Let's say suppose there are two individuals sharing a given bundle of good X and A is utility is represented on the horizontal x-axis and B is utility on the vertical axis. You can see this is the B's utility and that is the A's utility, right, on the x-axis and y-axis. If suppose we will see B to A, this is the optimum utilization. Here is suppose there are two individuals sharing a given bundle of goods X and A's utility is represented on horizontal x-axis and B's utility on the vertical y-axis. Thus, BA represent the utility possibility curve of all combinations of individual utilities. You can see there are various combinations B, F, E, etc. You can see utility curve we had already discussed, right? Here is, let's say, this here is this person is not using that is utility is 0 and B is on the higher side. But here is A's utility on the higher side and for the B's this utility is 0. Then we come to the Pareto's criteria of social welfare shows that any change which causes a movement from C to point D and E or F on the BA curve means that there is an improvement. For it makes either both better off or at least one person better off without making the other worse off. But any other movement from C to outside DE is not a Pareto improvement. For example, a movement from C to Q increases B's welfare at the expense of A's welfare. So we can see in this curve, if this point, Q point, that is not Pareto optimal, this point, because that is outside this. That means B's utility is better off, but at the cost of A's worst off. But at this point, D, F, E, within this point, that means there is a we can see this is utility possibility curve of all combinations of individual utility. Pareto's criteria of social welfare, it is showing movement C to point D, E, and F on the BA curve means there is an improvement. It might be possible and makes either both better off or at least one person better off without making the other worse off. Now you can see, and after that we can come to the this point, it's criticism. Pareto optimal, that is the criteria, has been pointed out by Dr. Graf and is free from making any interpersonal comparisons. It is based on very broad, ethical, positive view that one should always do good to all, but it has its weaknesses. Number one, there can be an infinite number of Paretian optima, which with each with a different level of welfare. So, as pointed out by Pareto himself, there are infinite number of points at which maxima of individual satisfactions are attained. It cannot be defined that whether one optimum position is better or worse than another optimum position. That means we cannot say earlier position was better or this current position is worse. Like, for example, as mountain have any peak, if we need to choose the highest peak, it involves interpersonal comparison. If this possibility is denied, there is no way of finding a single peak. So it is not possible to find out the best of optimum points of welfare. And according to Dr. Dog, the so-called Pareto conditions are insufficient to characterize a position as optimum. Then the next criticism, if we will talk about, this criteria is not free from value judgment. And in this particular, in this particular theory, to say that it is possible to make every person better off without making any other person worse off is a value judgment in itself. Though Pareto used the method of ordinal measurement of utility, yet he could not present a value-free criteria. Ordinal means we are doing ranking. Third criteria, Pareto evaluates only unambiguous changes in welfare. So, in his efforts to avoid interpersonal comparison, Pareto evaluates only unambiguous changes in welfare. The Paretian welfare criteria is thus of little use in making policy recommendations. Like, for example, in terms of that diagram, a movement from C to any point on the segment DE is not always an unambiguous increase in welfare. There may be other optimum welfare positions on the utility possibility curve BA outside DE. It can be possible. And next we come to the next criteria, that is not possible to judge many policy proposals. So it might be possible, according to Baumol, the Pareto criteria works by sidestepping the crucial issue of interpersonal comparison and income distribution, that is by dealing only with cases where no one is harmed so that the problem does not arise. So that means we can say there are many policy proposals which cannot be judged with the help of this criteria. It does not apply to any policy proposal which benefit some and harm others, right? Then we come to there is a very simple, according to Boulding, there are two types of changes in the social welfare, those which benefit all or at least one person through trading. Second category, those which benefit one person at the expense of the other through conflict. So this criteria relates to the welfare optimum reached through trading, whereby all or at least one person becomes better off without making any other person worse off. So I'm sure this video would be helpful to you. And in the next video, we will discuss definitely social welfare function. And this video, all the criticism, I'm sure that is clear how we can criticize this theory. And I mean, those economists has criticized and what is this, the utility possibility curve and as well as indifference curve analysis on the basis of and marginal conditions of Pareto optimality. I hope this video would be helpful. Keep watching. Thank you. Stay tuned.